Thank you again. Thank you very much, Professor Murray Froganyun. And again, and thank you very much for you all coming. And thank you very much for organizing this event and coming out here every year. And very, very happy. And we used to go, my brother, very great teacher, and we used to go and see him so many times, William Patterson, since in 80s. And every year we had the opportunity to visit your beautiful school or the universities and give talks and have beautiful delicious lunch, and then in the cafeteria or that, and then go by. So it's a lot of memories of the William Patterson universities, and I'm very grateful and honored to see you and meet you again and discussing the teaching of the Dharma according to my knowledge or capabilities. Again, and so now I understand you all studying, particularly this time, Buddhism, and also among the Buddhism, a little bit just exploring the meanings of the Rangtong and the Shentong texts. So I will try and tell a little bit about this. Generally, you already know the all the teachings of Buddhism came from Buddha, and who came 600 years ago. And he was one of the very kind, compassionate, and wise, and very beautiful, adaptable, great teachers in human histories. And truly, he brought the great peace and joy, harmony, and respect, and tranquilities, and confidence, and trust to each other and themselves, and hope, and vision, all that we discuss and talk in the human world. We want really he explored and brought that so beautifully to everyone. And his kindness and compassion, love has no discriminations at all, by any means. All the living beings he see, everyone has beautiful, everyone is existing because everyone. It's not something that because that they're because powerful of us or something. There's nothing. Everyone is so related and connected and beautifully and biologically and emotionally, feeling level, and in many levels is the same. And he explained that truly it's not just a making of that, but he said this is what it is, all nature is. So within that context, this Rangtong and Shentong came to, because you all know Buddha's teaching, every living being has inherited Buddha nature. Everyone can become like him, that means. Like him, or there is also in Buddhism, there is many great enlightened beings, Buddhas, female Buddhas. So this enlightenment or Buddhahood is not reserved by anyone, selected groups. Everyone, if they walked for their nature, their beauty and goal, with the right way, accordingly contracts where the nature is, harmonizing, bring that, then we can explore and be ourselves as like Buddha. And that's what, because he said this is everyone. He's not just making up, and he's trying to kind of nice and polite to it, but that is the way the practice are. Everyone is in that nature status. So in that level, that context, and then this Rangtong and Shentong came. And generally Rangtong, Shentong, of course, I think you must have studied. It comes from Buddha nature. And this is the Buddha nature is in the Buddhism known as, or Sanskrit language is known as Tathagata Garbha, or the potential or the nature of the Buddha, Tathagata nature. This Tathagata nature is inherited to every single living beings. If they have feeling, they have a thought, and they have emotions, they know what they're doing, and they like hope and a vision and a goal, or that every living being inherited that nature. There is no really difference to everyone. So everyone has this nature, and even though externally they may be experiencing many different difficulties and circumstances, the up and the down and all these things, but in the reality level, everyone has this nature, and it's so beautifully staying. And in Buddhism, also called, there's not just only we came here first time. There is lives after life we go through. And not just that this is the beginning of our, we will go life after life in the future, but we did that in important in Buddhism, there's so many lives that we talk. Even no matter whatever the situation, circumstance and challenge we go through, Buddha nature, this Tathagata Garbha is never really changed by any means. It remains the same as it is. When you are heavily obscured, you are heavily in the trouble, in a difficult situation, Buddha nature is never changed. And when you are in a creative point, in a time of fun, in a time, good time, and everything, that it also really didn't change anything. Nature remains the same nature as it is. So that is the Buddha's teaching generally. And this is, of course, this teaching comes from India and went to Tibet. And so, and when it came to Tibet, then this Rangtong and Shentong terminologies are kind of like they brought up, and the these masters and great thinkers, these great logicians, they really brought up, and then they begin debating on these things, Rangtong and the Shentongs. And I think you already started. Rangtong, what means? Rangtong is both terminologies are Tibetans. Rangtong means self-emptied, or empty. Self is empty. Rang is a self and is empty. The self is empty, or self-nature is empty. Self-nature is. Shentong means is empty by the others, other components. Empty by the other components. So which they're talking about is talking about this Buddha nature, Tathagata Garbha. And they say Buddha nature, self is empty. Self-nature of the Buddha nature is empty, and that is known as Rangtong. And some other great master use highlight with this terminology, Shentong. Buddha nature, the other component is empty. So that indicating something is not empty. This is also came in the Buddha's teaching. It's not just that this great master started interpreting in different ways. Buddha teaching, what it says in Mahayana teachings, particularly this terminology is very popular and famous in Mahayana Buddhism. And in Mahayana Buddhism, again, there is many Buddhism schools, and this Mahayana Buddhism, what the teaching said in one of those great many sutras, everyone says that in one of the known as sutra, known as the Mahaparinirvana Sutras. In Mahaparinirvana Sutra, Buddha said, this is what that means. Before Buddha is going to pass away in our language, going to pass away, he gives a lot of teachings, a lot of seminary teachings. And those all teachings are collected together and known as then the teaching that before the passing away, teaching of the before passing away. In that teaching, for example, this is just one of the examples. That teaching said, Buddha is permanent. Buddha is continuation. Buddha is absolute. Buddha is indestructible. Buddha is never changed. That's what the Buddha said. Buddha is permanent. So with this many great masters, Buddha nature is not empty, kind of like state. Its sense is permanent. It's like indestructible. There's nothing changed. So therefore, what is empty? What is going to empty of the components are the cover of things. Buddha nature is covered by the many defilements. That is empty. That is going to release or removed, but nature itself is not empty. That remains same as it is. For that is called then Shentong. So yin is what? The others is components is those emotions, those obscurations, what in Buddhism is called. Obscuration, that is going to be emptied. That is empty, that is going to leave out of the Buddha nature, but the Buddha nature will remain. That nature remains. Stay remain. And some other great master said again in the Buddha's teaching, that is, for example, in all these teachings of the Panchaparamatas, Buddha said there is anything is existing from the samsara to all the way to nirvana or to the enlightenment. Everything is empty. Everything is empty. There's nothing is really existing. Anything that substantially solid. Everything is empty. And all the, like he mentioned, all form is emptiness, and sound is emptiness, and tree is emptiness, smell is emptiness, everything, mass is emptiness, matter is empty, everything is in it, even the enlightenment is empty set. So that means its nature is empty. In that status, then these great masters use the terminology Rangtong. The self is empty. Self nature is empty. So therefore, these two terminologies arises in this Tibetan Buddhism. These great masters started then a lot of debate on these issues that you maybe read those books, and my gracious teacher and the brother Khenpo Tsewang Rinpoche, and he's also, of course, I had the opportunity to join with him and have those books. So in that teaching, then explaining that how all is empty. So this is what really is started. Now everybody kind of talking how we will know that we have the Buddha nature. Then that is again in that teaching must be you read in the book, and again the great masters many times mentioned because we obviously will know that everyone has Buddha nature. And that is a very famous Indian great master, and also with according to Buddhism, he will be coming future. He will become one of the great teachers or the Buddhas in the future. And in his teaching, then what he said, everyone has Buddha nature. No one is exception. I mean, he said, and I said, Buddha Shakyamuni said many times that as he kind of highlight that, he said, everyone has Buddha nature because you see the Buddhas. You see the Buddha, and therefore everyone has enlightenment nature. Buddha, and then the nature, so you see the Buddha, and nature is the same. Everyone has the potential. That's what his great master said. So what that actually really means, and we use this kind of like simple, I'm trying to put the simple, even though it's big topics, but trying to use the simple, and we use the examples of that. And there is a lot of, like maybe I use examples, like a lot of orange seeds. When you eat the oranges, there's a lot of orange seed comes, right? So there's so many orange seeds here. Here, leave this here. In one side we leave all the orange seeds, and the other side we see the orange itself, one oranges. So now we're going to look to these two things. The seed of oranges and orange itself. And now we say, hey, somebody said, hey, where this orange come from? This orange come from where? It come from. Then they started thinking, where this orange come from? I see the orange definitely is beautiful, golden, whatever, this yellow, round. This, where that come from? And then somebody said, hey, this is true, you see this, but it come from maybe really from this seed. There's so many seeds are hanging out. There's one orange, definitely. I think this orange beautiful come from, really from this seed. This from seed. So therefore, by seeing this orange is not just going to come by itself. It's just happened, it's not, but it really came truly from this. So therefore, this orange seed, even though this time don't really look like orange, but definitely it has the orange potential to become orange potential, because I see there's these beautiful oranges. That's what we call, known as, by looking the result, the fruit, and deducting or using the inference, truly this seed has potential to develop this orange. That's what in Buddhism we call, because you see the result, therefore, this seed have that potential. That potential definitely exists, even though you don't see now. And then we say, again, now the second question is, even though you have the seed, you see these two things, but how that can happen? How that can happen? That is then in this great master used, nature is equal. Nature is equal. Nature has no partialities. The pervasive nature is equal. It's called the equanimity status, emptiness, or the openness, the infinite, the freedom. Same thing. Nature is not discriminating. Oh, I like this seed only, and I don't like this. Oh, I don't like only this orange. I don't like the seeds. The seeds. Never say. Nature is open. If there is a circumstance and conditions put together with this definitely this can develop to this. Nature is completely open, equal. Therefore, if this made circumstance and conditions or joyful effort or conditions accordingly nature needed, not something completely different, but accordingly that harmonizing beautifully, then definitely this will become this orange. So that is then the second, these reasons. The nature is equal, therefore every living being can get enlightenment if they worked hard, if they did the right ways. It's not just working hard itself is enough, but right ways. If you do this. And for that is, again, with this, now you look to the first, suppose you look to the orange itself, and it's kind of like deducting or putting inference, this seed will develop the orange. This seed, this result come from orange, a seed. And now, so third one is looking itself from the seed side to the result. Hey, this group. Hi, this group saying that. Hi, it looks like this oranges other side. How it came? These oranges. They all talking. Oh, I think so. We have the same potential. If we do this right way, whatever he did or this orange did, if we do the right way, I think I will become like this too. Because nature is open again. Same way, nature is equally open and nature. So therefore, everyone has the opportunity. That's this great master use reason. This is called reason. Reason that everyone can get enlightenment if they walk the right ways. Right ways, not the wrong ways. Right ways. Right? What is right ways? And that is harmonize again. Harmonize exactly the nature itself. Where the nature. That means this case, nature of the Buddha. Buddha nature. Tathagata Garbha. Buddha nature. What is Buddha nature is now? Buddha nature is now what it's talking. Buddha nature is love. True love. True compassion. True wisdoms. True respect and appreciation. That is nature's component. In openness, freedom. That is nature has that. So now what we have to do, right way is to do, right way to do is then harmonize exactly as it is. Bring more love, more kindness, more compassion, more respect and appreciation, more openness, more discriminating that. That activities if you continue to do, and then what it does is radiating that energy, that power, that qualities, but at the same time it's exploring the beauty. You glorify your own beauty of the Buddha nature. As it is developing, as it is expanding, then it's known as in Buddhism, following the path. You really develop, you're developing. This path is not following externally some path, but it's inner path, inner journey. You're really exploring, developing. As much as we develop, that much is expanding, because Buddha nature is limitless, is boundless. Or the power of the Buddha nature is boundless and limitless, boundless. It's totally pervasive. According to Buddhism, the Buddha teaching is like sky. And what we did, why we become like this? Because we did the unrealistic activities, something not natural to this, to Buddha nature, we did, which is then kind of self-important. And then we developed to make the self-important, to protect that self-important, we kind of developed such as known attachment. And then to protect or to glorify that ourselves we thought to be, and then we developed anger, hesitation, doubt, jealous, and so forth, disrespectful, harsh. All those comes, those are not nature. Because the nature of the Buddha, our nature, is your nature. Our nature, that is love, kindness, compassion, joy and appreciation. And that is then the opposite is disrespectful. Opposite of love is what? Unkindness or anger. Opposite of the compassion is attachment. And the opposite of love and kindness and compassion is jealous. And all that we develop, and what it does is then it kind of like completely cover up our Buddha nature and become completely shielded, and then our Buddha nature is not really shining very strongly, beautifully, as should be, because of cover up this. So therefore, then this is when it's developed, that all this cover up things when happened is happened since we started self-important attitudes or ego clinging Buddhism. Clinging, that happened. This is not really nature of the Buddha. Buddha nature is unnatural. Therefore, that can be released. That can be removed because it's temporarily developed, it's unrealistic, it's not nature, can be released, removed, and that is known as Shentong. It's something that you removed, that you can remove, clean up that. Clean up, and that is Shentong philosophy. And the nature is then begin to shine as much as we clean up and cover up that release, as clothes begin to shine that. That is the Shentong technique, which is very beautiful technique, same thing. But then, what is Rangtong? And this Rangtong is then, again, nature is empty. Nature itself has no solid entities, even though it is continuation there, but it's not something that's solid, metal or mass, or it's not like solid molecules or atoms, right? Atoms. It's not. It's open, freedom. That is known as the Rangtong. It's self-empty. And both are completely. Nature, the outskirt or surface or this cover of things is removed. And then that nature is totally open, relaxed, even the continuation, that quality is the continuing, but there's no substantial entities that existing as solid levels. Why then Buddha used those terminology as permanent, all those permanent, indestructible? Because that nature, qualities, is permanent. In not permanent sense of the solid as like concrete objects, but it's a continuationally inherent nature, existing, or living right here. Is nothing changed. Nothing changed. For that reason, it is Buddha used as terminology, as permanent, inchangeable, indestructible, because nature is always, as like sky. Sky never changes. Sky we can say permanent, but there is no substance, solid existing entity of skies. Same say Buddha nature is, even though it's permanent and as indestructible, it's not solid existing. For those reasons, what in the teaching always said, the Buddha nature is beyond of the permanent and impermanence. Buddha nature is beyond of the existing and non-existence. This existing and non-existing thought is our duality mind. Mind trying to hold something. Holding is again the same thing. It's grasping. It's not natural. We have to release that ties, and then we will reveal the true beauty of as nature has and the Buddha nature has. So that is my briefly kind of like talk and introductions of the Buddha nature. If you have some questions, then I'm happy to discuss.